you guys? My name is Aubrey, this is my channel, and today I'm going to be talking about Turo. More specifically, I'm going to be talking about whether or not I feel like right now, the second half of 2021, is a good time to start your own Turo business. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down my exact thoughts on the Turo platform. I'm going to be talking about some of the big changes that have recently happened to the Turo platform, and I'm going to be giving you my final thoughts of whether or not I feel like now is a good time to grow or join the platform. So let's get started. Now, for those of you who don't know, Turo is a peer-to-peer car sharing platform. Basically how it works is that if you have a car that you want to make money off of, you can list that car on the Turo platform, people can rent it from you, and you can make money doing it. Turo is a really cool side hustle. I've been doing it for a very long time. I've made dozens of YouTube videos about it. If you're interested in learning more, I would highly encourage you to check out my Turo playlist, which I will have linked at the end of this video. Well, ever since I've started this YouTube channel, about once every 6 to 8 months, I make a video giving you my kind of general thoughts on the Turo platform at that point in time. I did this once in January of 2020, in June of 2020, and January of 2021, and then I'm here today in July of 2021 to do the exact same thing. Now, over the last couple of years, I've had kind of a roller coaster of emotions with Turo. I have consistently been fairly optimistic of the Turo platform, but over the years, Turo has continuously changed their policies over and over again to hurt hosts. And as a result, this time last year, I was feeling quite bearish about the Turo platform. In fact, the video that I made around this exact time last year, I had talked about how Turo had recently increased their percentage that they take from hosts. They had implemented a deductible. They were kind of taking more from hosts while giving less to hosts. And overall, the platform was just less than satisfactory. Well, I stuck it out and I didn't grow on the Turo fleet really for about 6 to 8 months. One, because of the fact that I was a bit nervous about Turo and the future of Turo. But number two is COVID and the pandemic and lockdowns had a huge effect on the Turo business, mine included. So because of these two things and a few other factors here and there, I decided that I would not grow in the year of 2020. And as a result, I didn't buy a single car for the Turo platform. I sold a couple of cars were totaled, but I didn't buy a single new car for my fleet. But then that brings us to present day in July of 2021. And my overall tone with the Turo platform is actually quite a bit different. And I'm feeling a lot more optimistic and a lot more bullish about the decisions that Turo is making for its hosts. Over the last year, it's very obvious that Turo has been trying to make an effort to weed out the bad hosts. They've been trying to make an effort to kick people off the platform that are either not doing a good job being hosts, hosts that are taking advantage of the system, hosts that are scamming the Turo platform in general, and hosts that are just in general a bad representation of the Turo platform. This is something that has been apparent to most Turo hosts out there, certainly the bigger fleet owners, because the policies have been really indicative of them trying to implement some sort of way to get rid of these bad hosts that are making a bad reputation for the Turo platform. I believe that Turo increasing their take-home percentage, implementing a deductible, making claims harder to process, I believe all of these things were in an effort to kick these bad hosts out. Not only that, but Turo also started implementing an 80% rule. Now, this is something that they've had for a long time, but they didn't execute on it until very recently, within the last year. What this means is that if you are a host that has a 5-star rating that falls below 80%, Turo will send you a warning, and if you don't improve your rating from there, Turo will then kick you off the platform. This in turn, once again, kicks bad Turo hosts out of the platform so they don't give Turo a bad name. As a result, over the last year, Turo has been kicking these bad hosts off the platform. They've been leaving on their own accord. They've been deciding to go into other things. And because of this, there has been a group of Turo hosts, the hosts that currently host on the Turo platform, that have been sticking through this or joining the Turo platform and doing a good job. And it looks as though these hosts that actually know what they're doing are finally reaping the benefits of their hard work. Because Turo has recently implemented and announced some really cool policies that I think make me, at least, feel very, very optimistic of the Turo platform. In the last week, Turo announced that they are investing $30 million into their hosts. They released this through their blog. They also sent out a newsletter as well, and I will pull that up on my screen now. You can see here that if you look at this page and you scroll down, there's a handful of different things that Turo has announced here. First and foremost is they are increasing their take-home percentage by 5%. Now, this is the rule that they changed last year that really rubbed me the wrong way. For example, I have been on the 75% plan with Turo my entire Turo career. What this means is that Turo takes 25% of all of my earnings. I keep 75%, but as a result, Turo covers me in the case of an accident. This is the protection plan that I've been on since I joined the platform in 2017. Well, last year, during the pandemic, as hosts were hurting, they announced that they were adding an additional 5% fee on top of that, meaning that me being on the 75% plan was now going to be on a 70% plan. So instead of taking home 75% of my income, I was only going to take home 70%. In addition to that, they were also implementing a deductible. So that means that if any damage occurred to my car, I was going to have to pay a $250 deductible plus 30% of all of my earnings going directly into Turo's pocket. This is something that really rubbed me the wrong way because my thought process with this was, well, if Turo does this now, what's going to stop them from doing this later? We're at 25% now, we're switching to 30%. Our next year, are they going to announce that they're going to take now 35%? And my cut's going to go from 75 to 70 to 65. This was a very real concern, and I really needed to see how this would play out in order to feel comfortable growing on the Turo platform. Well, it seems as though I got my answer to that because like I just said, in this press release, in this news release by Turo, it says that host take is increasing 5% for most protection plans, meaning that me and my 75% plan, I will go back to 75%. So for example, it means if you were on the 70% plan, you will now be on the 75. If you were on the 75, you will now receive 80% of your earnings. If you were on the 80% plan, you will now receive 85%. In addition to this, hosts will also be taking 90% of all delivery fees. Now, this is something that didn't really affect me. I don't do deliveries. I never have done them, but it's something that I can appreciate for the sake of other hosts because some hosts do deliveries. And if you do a delivery, you deserve to take as much of that fee home as possible. It's your time, energy, and resources that you are using to go deliver that car, and you deserve to take as much of that as possible. So the fact that you will now take 90% of it is great news. And lastly, and in my opinion, the biggest piece of information that came out of this news press release thing was that cash in on your booming business with their biggest incentive ever. After a long winter, the world is roaring back to life and hitting the road like never before. To celebrate the triumphant return of travel, Turo is proud to introduce our biggest incentive ever to help our host community build their businesses and capitalize on the epic travel surge forecasted through the end of the year. We'll pay up to $2,000 extra per additional car listed between July 1st and December 31st, 2021. So this means that you could potentially earn an additional $2,000 per car that you list on Turo between now and the end of the year. Now, the thing that I would like to note with this is that there is almost certainly going to be some form of caveat placed on this $2,000. Whether it's like a caveat saying you have to have the car listed on the platform for X amount of days, or it has to go on X amount of trips, or the car has to be X year model, whatever the case is, there will almost certainly be some sort of caveat put onto this. But the fact that Turo is finally putting their money where their mouth is as far as getting their host to grow is something that I really appreciate. And as a growing host, I appreciate the effort on Turo's end in trying to get us more involved in expanding our fleets. So then that brings us to the last question of this video, which is, do I think that it is a good time to grow a Turo fleet right now in the second half of 2021? And the answer to that question is I truly, truly do. The fact is, there is a ton of demand with rental companies right now. Car rental companies like Avis, Budget, Hertz, they had to sell off their fleet last year because of the pandemic. This on top of the fact that cars are just in shortages in general. There is a chip shortage, there is a huge bubble associated with the used car market, there is an increase in travel because of restrictions being lifted. And I truly do believe that all of these things are creating a perfect storm for Turo and for peer-to-peer car sharing. Not only will you see a huge influx in car rentals for the rest of this year, but there will also be an increase in brand awareness with Turo as well. More and more people are going to become aware that Turo actually exists. And that means that they won't only use Turo this year whenever rental cars are short on vehicles, but they may also use Turo in the future as well in replace of traditional rental car companies. So it's a great time to get these customers in, get them in the habit of renting cars through Turo, and then get them to the point where they never want to use a traditional car agency again. So again, to answer the question, I truly do believe that right now is like the perfect time to start a Turo business. But there are a couple of things that I would caution you on. Number one is the fact that the car shortage is a very real thing. There is a very real car shortage that is making it very hard to expand. This is almost certainly why Turo is implementing this incentive, because they are trying to incentivize hosts and spending money on vehicles, knowing that many hosts are having to overpay for these vehicles. I look for used cars every single day online to try to buy for my Turo fleet, and it is very, very normal to see cars listed for between 20 and 40% more than they would typically be listed for. This means that it is very hard to find cars at a good deal. This is something that I would caution you on if you're wanting to join the Turo fleet. It is not worth it to pay an extremely high market value for a vehicle that you want to list on Turo, because buying cars below market value is the key to success on Turo, at least in my opinion it is. So it is very important that if you're somebody who is wanting to expand onto Turo, if you're wanting to join the Turo platform and start your own Turo business, to not overpay for these cars. You don't want to jump the gun, get too eager, and then end up shooting yourself in the foot later on because of the fact that you overpaid for a car. The second thing to keep in mind is that I know that new opportunities can be exciting, and I understand that in the case of Turo, you may just be ready to get started. But it is super, super important to do your due diligence. It's important to understand exactly what you're getting yourself into. So make sure to be aware of all of the terms and service that you have to follow. That's something that I talk about so much on this channel. It's almost become a joke at this point. Read the terms of service. Like, that is, you have to do it. If you want to join Turo, you have to read the terms of service. You have to do it. If you're looking for an extra resource that could potentially help you in starting your Turo business, I do have a car sharing course. You can find that down in the description below. You can use the code 4th of July, which will give you $25 off. In addition to that, I am throwing around the idea of potentially doing one-on-one consultations. It's something that I've been hesitant to do in the past, but I've been debating on implementing it and maybe taking on a few consultations a month. And so if you guys are interested in potentially doing that and having me do a one-on-one consultation with you, then send me an email. I will have my email listed right here. It's like my YouTube email where I get business inquiries. And so if you would be interested in taking advantage of those one-on-one consults, then shoot me an email. I can add you on the list whenever that goes live. But all in all, starting a Turo business can be a really lucrative business. I have had so much success with Turo. I'm so happy with the platform. And I am going to be honest, this time last year, I was really skeptical about my own growth with Turo, and I was pretty transparent about that on this channel. I told you guys many times that I was not sure how my growth on Turo would proceed if they continued implementing harmful policies to hosts. But it does look as though they have changed their ways, at least temporarily, which is something that I can appreciate. So as far as my own personal plans with Turo go, I plan on really taking advantage of this $2,000 bonus. We of course don't know the exact details yet, but I plan on expanding my fleet to 20 to 25 cars by the end of the year. Most likely it will probably be 20 because it's so hard to find used cars right now. But the plan is to expand my fleet as much as possible. So I will be buying more Yaris's, I'll be buying more Focuses, and I'll be documenting that entire process on my vlog channel titled Aubrey NHP, which I will have linked down in the description below. I'll also have it linked up here as well. But like always, you guys, if you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it. So make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.